just because how complicated the concept paper even by itself it is, and not a lot of time.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Um,
I agree. So for the concept paper, though, it'd be nice to have big names of folks that we've talked to in there. Like
yeah,
we're not going to have
yeah,
any
and
kind of agreement with them. Yeah.
no, and in fact, I had a great call this morning with Intercity Transit out of Olympia, and they're replacing all 85 of their coach buses with new flyers, and they're anticipating like 3 to 4,000 kilograms a day, which is just over 3 to 4 tons a day, just for their buses.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Olympia,
So
which is
they've already. That's the state capital. It's not very far. It's a little south of Tacoma
yeah, okay.
on the coastline.
And have they spoken to somebody about hydrogen yet?
What?
Have they spoken to anybody about hydrogen fuel yet?
Yeah, they have an RFP out right now. For hydrogen supply, which we might want to mention to Airwater if they're interested in expanding that area, but it's got a short time fuse. I think they want a response by the middle of December.
Or is there
But
a
that's
term on
not,
it?
it's not for that full amount because he didn't, I'm not sure exactly how many buses they've already put in for, but I'm gonna just guess and say it's like 10 buses that they've already ordered from New Flyer. So they need a smaller amount by 2026 or 2025 even maybe, because they've already got that order in. So that's what they're sort of looking for.
Were they part of the Fortescue project? Because Centralia is pretty close.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, without patting myself on the back, I went and met with a guy and taught him all about hydrogen and made him decide that his buses needed hydrogen, and he stuck with it long after I was gone. He's like, where have you been? I'm like, well, I've jumped around a little bit, but here I am. So he's doing this all on his own with his new CEO. So I don't know what kind of commitment for procurement they're going to get. He just told me about it this morning. I'll look at the RFP, but I asked him if it was okay if we mentioned it to our off-taker for Arizona, because if they're interested in going a little further, they might have some to sell earlier, but maybe those numbers won't work for them.
Well, there's not going to be a lot of choices for them. I mean, Edmonton, Canada, maybe up and running. I guess that might be the closest.
Crossing the border with some of that stuff could get interesting. I mean, obviously they do it on the eastern side, but.
So let's talk about what we want our paper to look like. Have you thought through that yet, Charlie? Or
yeah, I sort of
was it pretty prescribed?
I sort of outlined a document of what we need, so maybe we can start, calling, figuring out like who's going to do what, if we want to add what we want to go into. So hold on for a second. Just make this bigger. You're not seeing that, are you?
Yes.
You are.
I see it. Yes. Attachment 1, acknowledgement of receipt. Yeah.
No, that's not the one. Okay, wait a minute. Let me move this over. Do you see it now? It says 174 PG.
Concept paper.
Yeah, that's it. So the second page, if you can see that, I can put it into a single review if that's easier.
No, this is great for me.
Okay, great. So you can see the majority of the pages are the project itself, like what feedstock, pretty easy ones until you get to some of the cost metrics.
Can I ask, are these chapters prescribed by them, or is this your concept?
Yes. Yeah.
Mr. Haber then,
This is kind of the points that they put in. To be fair, I haven't gone through all of the question and answer, so this might be revived somewhat. But I think the community benefits is going to be a little tough because we don't have anything specific, but I have ideas about what we could and should do. So I can take that page on. They want a little bit of the projected cost of the project outlined as specifically as possible. And they also want the project metrics outlined as specifically as possible, but we're not supposed to be disclosing confidential information. So we need that outlined more generally. They're not looking for attachments, maps, Excel sheets or anything at this point, but they, the more detailed we can be, the better. That's where I guess my head went at first when you were talking about adding Baker Hughes to our concept paper. Because it would be like, then it would be like a commitment to use their product, right? Or we're going to use their product and they're going to join us, and we haven't discussed between us how that cost share would work and that kind of thing. So that's kind of got me hung up there. And then my calculations is that 150 is 20%. But I saw you put 15% in something, so let me double check that. That might be the
150 is 20% of what? How much they want our project to be, or
no, that they are devoting from the award to that particular project.
Whatever our cost is, the DOE grant will be 15% cost shares, because they said it had to be either between 15 and 20% cost share.
So are they thinking that it wouldn't be 150 million? Because it kind of would be if they picked us, would be the whole ball of wax, wouldn't it?
Well, it's only $150 million if you have a $1 billion project.
Okay.
The 150 million is how much of the DOE money you get, and that's only 15% of your project. So I would think if our project is 400 million.
Yeah, it said 15 to 20%. So I just put in 20% into the concept paper. Obviously, they could come back and negotiate us down, but I never like to go under the top. So I think we need numbers and we need description of what we're going to look like. And I think that based on the conversations that I had last week and today, that we should be looking at the 15 tons per day to start with. There's no massive off-taker.
Unless it's a Baker Hughes gas turbine, then they would be 15 tons on their own.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
did they say they want to take that much hydrogen? Did you guys talk about that?
Not much detail yet, no, but that was their point, is they would have one of their turbines supplying power to a data center, and it needs hydrogen for blending. So two of their turbines or one of their turbines required 15 tons per day. We still have to do the math, but it was a significant number.
Yeah, that sounds great. The only thing is that approved? Like, is that something that can be done in Washington State? Can that blending happen? So I would hate to, but I suppose if they were going to contract with us and commit to it, that would be their problem if they can't use it.
And you mean because people can't burn, you can't have combustion for power generation in the state, or why wouldn't they be able to do it?
Right. That hasn't been approved anywhere. Yeah. I mean, you've got a little bit of it going on in Hawaii, as sort of like an e-fuel thing, but the like massive amounts of using it. I think we'll all get there, but there's a lot of legislative things that have to happen, and Washington is more environmentally focused.
So the blending pertains to pipeline. We're not pipelining blended hydrogen. both natural gas and hydrogen will come to this, will be available at site, and all we're doing is blending to supply the gas turbine.
Okay, so they're blending on site after those two resources reach their plant,
Yes, sorry. Yes.
right? That
Right.
still has to be approved, Assad.
So there are
What if it's just natural gas only?
Many companies
Yeah.
doing hydrogen-based power generation. So I don't believe that. I mean,
But there's
other than
no
standard power,
companies actually doing it. There's a lot of companies that plan to do it.
Well, let's ask Baker Hughes about it tomorrow when we talk to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great question, or if they're willing to commit. But then if they're going to take 15, then let's go 30.
Right. Yeah. And then we get better economics.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting a little nervous about some of the regulatory stuff that everybody's assuming it was going to all fall in place nicely. And nothing really has been tested yet.
Yeah. Well, this is the concept paper, right? And then this gets you invited to the proposal. So it'd be nice to have a couple. I was uncomfortable we didn't have any offtake, so now I'm pretty comfortable. Charlie, you found a bunch. Baker Hughes, I think, is a good thing to have as a discussion for a concept discussion.
Yeah.
And we got to work through making sure these things are real.
And maybe we do get all the potential off takers that are willing to do it to join in, to the funding request. Like you said, getting a chance to offset some of their expenses. So right now that would be like 4 entities. So perhaps maybe in the concept paper, we say when we're discussing offtake that we've made initial contact with these 4 off-takers and discuss the possibility of them joining our project or something like that.
Right.
So
they'd have
to come in at application in December. So we'd have to
Right.
nail them down soon. They wouldn't be able to like kind of float around it.
And if somebody's building a $10 million fueling station for boats, whatever, they would be part of the project and expect 20% funding, right?
Right. And the problem with that right now is that Air Liquide and that Boardman facility have locked down the Pacific Northwest Port Association, and that would be doing any hydrogen fueling storage at like Seattle, Tacoma. And their organization controls a lot of the shipping corridor stuff. So that's the only thing to keep in mind. Like, we're not the only competitor coming on the market, and I don't know how far along those guys are.
What do you mean locked it down? So if somebody builds a fueling station in Tacoma, they need to use Air Liquide liquid, or only if they're already part of the government program?
If they're part of the Northwest Pacific, I forget what it's called, Port Association or something like that, they're a group of end users, and they went in on the Boardman green hydrogen production proposal. So they're
Okay.
tied into that. I don't know how that ties them in and over what period of time, because I just don't know the specifics of the deal. But I actually talked to their representative at the conference just to see.
So the company you talked to,
He said
Blue
they're going to
Ocean?
use like, no, I talked to Marine Blue, but
Marine
I
Blue.
also talked, okay, wait a minute, here it is, the Northwest Seaport Alliance. And they're going to be they're going to be the biggest first off taker. Probably. And then, and not unusually, they're already connected to a supplier.
So that Marine Blue is not part of that Northwest Seaport Alliance?
It is.
So they can't be an off-taker for us, I guess?
I don't know. I'll dig into it and see what I can find. I think they can all be an off taker for us eventually. I just don't think we can go into the application saying we have a first commitment when we first start producing to them. And by the time we produce, if we're like a year or two after Liquid produces, like depending on how far along they are, we could have a much bigger hydrogen market in general, and we could have more of a competitive supply market.
Yeah. Okay. It's a little more concerning though if they're tied up, but we can figure that out. That's industrial gas companies are good at that, tying up people.
It's like us, what we're doing with our Genesis project. We wouldn't be moving forward if we didn't, if we weren't trying to tie out
Sure.
an off taker. And I imagine it's very similar there, because I just asked Graham straight out, like, are you committed, or can you buy hydrogen? He's like, well, I think eventually, there's going to be a market, but at first we're committed to the Boardman group. And I was like, okay.
Okay. Was Amazon there at all?
And they're not getting back to me at all. I sent them a deck. They're just like, yeah, we'll call you if we need you, which didn't surprise me because they're Amazon.
Okay. Were they at the conference?
Nope.
No. Okay. All right.
Do you want me to stop sharing that document? Or do you want to go through it and put names on it, or what do we want to do?
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, that between you and I think we can do most of it. Decide if you can give us the cost breakdown of a 30 ton per day system. I think you've done that. Cost metrics, cost per kilogram, production, storage, transport, and use. Well, I take a first shot of project description over the next tomorrow and get it out to all of you for comment, and there'll be a lot of open areas in it. And then Charlie, if you can take the community benefits page, do the same thing. That'd be nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want me to run some numbers for costs?
Yeah, thank you. You have for the 30 for a Genesis duplicate, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I think
Genesis duplicate with liquefier added to it, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'll take aside if you take a first shot at the actual cost, I can take a shot at what price we need to have it all make sense.
Yep.
So one of the things that we have to do before we get started is we have to put in this page. We have to email this page that basically says we're going to go ahead and submit a concept paper.
I did that.
And
when this
you did it already.
Yeah.
You did it already. Okay, great. Because I was looking at that and I couldn't figure out how did you get their PDF form over, or did you just say we're submitting it and not worry about their form?
No, I got their form somehow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out how to do that. But did you put yourself down as contact? That was going to be my question. Who should be contact?
I probably did. Let me send you the email. I thought I sent it out, but I must not have.
I'm behind a little on emails, so maybe I missed it.
Jeremy offered to help if we want. I don't know what that looks like, but yeah.
Jeremy Holland?
Yes.
Yeah, they're looking to be our EPC on this project.
Oh,
so
for sure.
He tracked me down. Nice guy. Seems like a nice guy.
Could he help a bit on number 2 of community benefits? Does he know who the organized labor is? And it'd be nice to have them involved somehow. So they're sitting around the room. He can say he knows of us and it's a good project.
Yeah, for sure. I can ask him whatever we want.
All right, let's think through that.
Yeah, I can ask them for recommendations on how to satisfy community benefits or what they're looking for, something like that.
Yeah, I guess if you don't mind.
Yeah, I was thinking of keeping it pretty high level as far as we know that we're going to be bringing in workforce to that Oregon area, which is also a very rural area, a Justice 40 community, and that, we'll be providing clean energy for some of their most distressed, polluted areas. And that's, I don't know if we want to touch the tribal stuff. That's huge for the Pacific Northwest because they've got something like 27 tribes and basically a postage stamp. So they have a lot of interest in that. And then I did some work with the community colleges out there. So I was planning on like sketching out how we could support community college programs for workforce development.
I think the actual construction atmosphere might be good to be able to say we understand it. And maybe Aaron, if you can get that from him, like you have to hire travelers or there's construction, whatever he says, there's construction in Washington that'll travel down to Oregon or the opposite. And then maybe we can just put a couple sentences in there about that. Just be nice to have people on the team, supporting our project. That makes sense.
Was the question about? Sorry, I was typing an email for the first half of the question. Was it about
the construction environment? What's he expect for a construction environment in northeastern Oregon? Is there labor? Is it traveling labor? Costs maybe? Is there a local workforce, or do we have to go out to bring people in? What's the situation?
Sounds good.
I found it. San Juan. I did that right.
And there's a federal database of labor rates. Assad and I discovered that when we were looking for it in Genesis.
Federal of actual rates, or is it the federal of the prevailing wage?
It's prevailing wage. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's good. That's what we will have to meet. But there's always depends on the situation. Like in Arizona, there's just no labor out there, so it has to be travelers coming in versus certain large unions that will have labor available. The prevailing wage is what they have to pay, but what is the situation for construction labor?
Yeah, I get that. I just think we should also say we'll pay the prevailing wage. That's what
Oh yeah,
it's just saying there's a source for that. Finding that out.
Prevailing wage and apprenticeship program. That's key for all of these. Okay. Transport, storage, end use. Sounds good. Gian, you have any? I owe you an email, Gian. Any other updates for us? Nell low pressure alkaline specifically. Yeah. Nell has a PEM also. Okay. Sounds good.
So Gian, I had one request. So there was this announcement in news around COPCO getting the ammonia contract, for power production. I sent an email to you and to Mr. Donga at Hanwha. If you can try to find out more about that and share that with us, that will be very helpful. Thank you.
The small hydrogen electrolyzer being installed by Hanwha. What Hanwha entity was that? Is that Hanwha Energy doing that in Korea?
Hanwha Chemicals.
Hanwha Chemicals. Okay, and they're going to own it and operate it and everything. Yeah.
Hey, Aaron,
Yeah.
I just sent you the cost to use.
I saw that. I'll cut it in half and I'll use that number.
No, it's got the liquefier in it as well now.
There we go.
All right, good. So Jason wants to talk to me in half an hour to give an update to Shane, his Tuesday morning meeting. Anything particular you all want me to update him with? I'm sure it'll just be LOI and power. Which is
Oh,
going pretty well.
That reminded me, one of the things that they wanted for a green electrolytic project is a confirmation of power access. So that is something for outlining our project description. We maybe need to have a couple of conversations with the power providers in that area and see what's possible. Because if there's nothing possible, one, we want to know that, but that has to be addressed in the concept paper.
Okay, good.
When's the paper due again? Is it
The
Next
4th?
month.
So I'm trying to set up a meeting with Justin Bieber, who might have some kind of insights into power in this area, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that in before the 4th.
Well, I think we also have to explain our business model of large solar and electrolytic production and lower grid production. You know, certainly they don't want to hear that you need 120 megawatts from the grid because that's difficult, but hopefully less than 50. Be good to understand who the locals are, though, and if Justin has an idea, is there this 25 to 50 megawatt allocation issue or not, or?
And maybe Jeremy knows that too, Aaron. He might know in general what the power issues are.
So I think, Dave, we should definitely have it 80% ready by Monday, because Tuesday, Wednesday, you and I are traveling on the road.
Yep, no problem. There's nothing going on this week. I'm not cooking. Is anybody else cooking? No. Gian, do you get any days off this week? It's a holiday here in the US, so we're closed Thursday for a holiday, and most people take Thursday and Friday off. Thanksgiving holiday. Are we closed Friday? Just Thursday?
No, we're not. And
No.
thanks for raising that, because I think I might take Friday off, but we'll see where we are in this concept paper. I could work a few hours, but I do want to shop. I don't cook, but I shop.
That's how I'll be Friday too. I'm officially taking off, but I can do a few things on this.
Yeah.
Answer Jason's telegrams.
And then, Dave, I got something about, I know I put in the approval for the Pacific Northwest a little late because we were going back and forth, and I don't think I ever got the circle approval back. I've already done the traveling, but then I got a message that said that it might not exist anymore. Did you remember seeing anything on that? And did you approve that? Or did that get stuck?
I don't remember. I thought I approved it, but I'll have to go back and look. I mean,
Yeah, we'll just take a look.
Circle ended on Friday, and now it's a new system.
Right. Right,
So
but that's,
if it's
so they
gone-
sent a message saying if your circle approval didn't go through, you have until Friday to go get it, but I can't get on to Circle to get it, so. You know,
You
I
can't
never
get on
got a
Circle?
notification of it being approved.
Huh.
I'm sure it's not a big deal, just if you could look into that, I'd appreciate it.
Let me get in the Circle right now and see if there's anything waiting for me or not, or. I approved the SODS expense report today, I thought. Did you get that, Assad? That was Circle. Oh, it went right to Claverse. Oh, jeez. Okay. This morning, I approved your expense report in Circle, and that was the only thing I had in there waiting for approval.
Right, but the expense reports don't run through Circle.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, this was a Circle approval.
I just went into my Circle link, and
No, it takes you to
Claverse
Clevis
came up.
now. Yeah, yeah.
so I'll have to go figure it out.
Well, you know what, since you're taking on the big part of the concept paper, let me reach out to the help people and see if I can figure it out from my end. Okay, since you'd have to do the exact same thing.
I'm just going to ask ChatGPT to write the 4-page concept paper and then tweak it.
No, I mean.
Well, do you have a middle schooler to borrow to do that?
Baker Hughes
They're the only
volunteered that
ones
they
that know how
had
to do
a
it.
Baker Hughes volunteered they had a great concept paper writer, Dave, remember?
Yeah.
I can run a feasibility study through for Genesis and create a GPT for it if you like.
What if it comes back and says it's not feasible?
Delete.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
So
Oh, sorry. Go
Dave,
ahead.
what are we going to do about SIPEM? I mean, if they are competitive, are we? I mean, I think we've led them on quite a bit, and they're now putting in a lot of time and effort. Do we want to really cut them off now, or is there really an opportunity for them? If we're going 100 megawatts, then it makes a lot of sense to go reconsider. But again, I just want to make sure that we're diplomatic in how we progress that. You and I
There's no
can talk
target.
in Houston next week, but.
Yeah, I have no problem with going with them for sure.
Right.
Yeah. You don't either, right?
I have no objections. I don't know. Yeah.
Nell, it seemed like Nell was leaning that way. They were hoping they would be competitive, and yeah,
Sure.
they're developing the products. Just needed.
Assad, do you need to do like a new analysis of, Kiewit and Audubon and SIPEM? Is that how you say it?
We will need to look at their agreements versus Audubon's.
Right. So they gave us a budgetary pricing, Charlie. They
Mhm.
didn't give us comments on contractors yet. They are now going to their leadership to get the necessary approvals, and after that they will send us the red line. So we will get that around 6th of December, Charlie.
Yeah, I saw that email. Okay, thanks. But I mean, as far as the budgetary numbers, I didn't take the time to look at them. Are they in the ballpark of?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Oh, good. That's good news.
They've already been working with Nell, so we were hoping that was the case, but you never know. Okay. Anything else? Anyone? No. All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right.